Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Hopefully everybody's doing good. And yeah, I'm back. I know I haven't posted a video in a week or so. Well, actually longer than that. But it's alright, guys. So today I want to talk about my experience as a support tech, a level 3 support tech at the company that I was at. It was a tech software company. I'm not going to mention the names. Just for privacy reasons, because I'm not gonna say obviously anything bad either, but I am gonna talk about my experience. Now, pretty much the job description was we help customers who call, install the software, or they're having any like issues, printing issues with the software, or network issues with the software, or if they want to share the software over a network, stuff like that. That's pretty much our job. We did some extra stuff that we weren't supposed to, but who doesn't? Nothing crazy, obviously. It's just, we went a little bit outside of the software every once in a while to help the customer out. But besides that, I enjoyed the job very much. I really did. And I'm hoping that I can go back next season if I'm not in a full-time position or doing something on my own. But the only thing that really I didn't like was that it got very, very repetitive. And I understand that this is part of the job, especially when you're a support tech, that it's going to get extremely repetitive just because you're going to have not only one customer call multiple times about the same issue, but you're going to have multiple customers calling you multiple times about the same issue that you just helped them solve maybe a day or two before. You know what I mean? And they have the right, they're paying for the service, they're paying for the software, so of course they're gonna call you multiple times with the same issue because they just don't want to deal with them on their own. Again, I understand that it's part of the job description. I understand that that's what they pay the money for, that it's fine. It's just something that I really didn't care for, that it was extremely repetitive. The same customer calling 5 times for the same exact printer issue that you already helped them solve, showed them how to solve it, and it's like, why do you keep going back and messing with it if it was already solved? Besides that, I enjoyed the fact that it was how should I say this? It challenged me every once in a while, and I like that very much because even though it was in a way repetitive, those times that you did get those brand new phone calls of something you haven't dealt with yet, that's what I enjoyed the most. Especially the networking issues or some printer issues where it's just like, why isn't the software printing correctly but everything else is? And I would enjoy solving those issues just because they were challenging to me, and it wasn't like, well, you have to press this button for it to print, or you have to click this so you can print in this certain way. So that's what I really enjoyed about the job, that it did get challenging at times, and I love challenging stuff. It was a level 3 support tech, which means that I was personally in charge of their VIP customers. Obviously, not only me, but they put me as one of the people that was in charge of their VIP customers, and as their further Spanish speaking customers. And let me tell you is that sometimes, even though I speak Spanish fluently, the barrier was there. Oh my God. I would get phone calls from, people from South America who speak Spanish a little bit differently than me being a Mexican. It's spoken sometimes differently, and sometimes they speak it faster than how I'm used to speaking it, or a little bit differently. and the language barrier would come up a lot, and I would have to ask the customer like, hey, listen, like I didn't understand what you said, because sometimes their number sounds different than what I understand, and I would like, oh, sorry, what was your user ID like, and they would have to repeat it like, and I'm like, can you say it a little bit slower, please, to where I can understand what you're saying. But very, very rare the situations where I was like, I had to tell a customer to slow down, you know, and repeat the numbers to me in a little bit slower where I could understand. But besides the language barrier, um, I loved it. I loved it. It was a great entry level job. I am getting calls for other positions. I had an interview yesterday, which didn't go very well, fortunately, but just by getting my foot in the door in that job, I immediately opened many other doors, because now I can literally put it by resume, level 3 support tech. This is what we did, da 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 da. And now that's just gonna be more opportunities of people trying to pay me probably a little bit more with higher levels and getting involved in more stuff with different companies. Um, the interview that I got yesterday was for um, desk side, not desktop support, but desk side. Sorry, language barrier again. Desk side support, and you know what I find unfortunate is that the people that interview you um, are their expectations, or this guy that interviewed me yesterday, I'm not sure if he just wasn't feeling interviewing that day or what was going on, but I answered most of his questions correctly. There was a few that did catch me off guard. Like I think it was two that I was just like, what? But what I found pretty amazing was that I had originally told this person when it came to what he asked me, like, well, give me your background on IT, and I told him I have mainly dealt with, very small companies with like maybe 10 PCs, and most of them was just like setting up network sharing folders and etc. And mostly just personal PCs, like individual people's computers. And I'm not sure if he didn't get that, but he started asking me about all this stuff that had to do with corporation, uh, IT level work, and I'm like, I explained to you that I have not done any corporation level IT work. Whereas Bailey's just been really small companies with basic stuff, and apparently something went south there, and supposedly they decided to go with a different candidate, which I know they didn't. It's just the guy was just not feeling, because the way he was speaking, I immediately noticed that he just didn't want to go through with the interview properly. And out of the whole list of job description that I received, he spoke about maybe about 2% of what was on that job description. Everything else he didn't even touch. He didn't even ask me any questions like, hey, if there's a problem you can't solve, how do you go about trying to solve it? Nothing like that. He's just like, and the way he was asking questions was like really weird, because he's like, if you're having a networking issue and you're not authorized to be doing network, what do you do? And I'm like, well, if I'm not authorized and you're telling me that I'm not, then I would go talk to the network administrator and let them know what's going on. And stuff like that, where I'm guessing those aren't the answers he wanted, but the way that he was wording them, it's like, how else do you want me to go about this? And when you guys interview, once you guys get your foot in the door with like a tech support job, and then you start getting these interviews, straight up, guys, if you guys are not feeling it, just be like, you know what, sir, like, I apologize, but I feel like this is not going the way that it should, and I'm sorry, but I feel like this is not the correct opportunity for me. You guys cannot be afraid to you personally let some jobs go, because if you get that job, you're probably gonna end up being miserable in that job, because even though you got it, the interview went well, you're more than likely just not gonna be happy there. And that's one thing that I loved about the desktop support job that I had, the tech support job that I had, because the atmosphere there was super friendly. Like, even though most of us were temps, even the people that were there permanently, they they were a wonder to work with. Like, they were wonderful. Like, if we had any questions, they were on it. Like, boo, 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 boo. And even though they knew that we were temps, they weren't afraid to teach us. They were not afraid to teach us. They were not afraid to say, hey, listen, I understand you're doing it this way, but this is the way that we do it, and this is a little bit easier. Like, wonderful people there at that company. Again, the only complaint that I had was that it got very repetitive towards the end. You know what I mean? But again, that had said, it did mention that at the beginning, like, hey, towards the end, it's just, you're mainly going to be getting phone calls of, you know, what status the refund is at, and etc., etc., etc. And they weren't wrong. I just personally didn't enjoy, like, you know, those small phone calls. But again, any job is going to have a repetitiveness to it, if you guys know what I mean. But yes, guys, just to conclude this video, I love the job, and if I don't have anything going on towards the next season, I'm definitely gonna hit them up and tell them, like, hey, can I come back for the season? They already told me yes, I could come back. Since I'm already a returning temp, the season would start sooner for me, which means I would have at least 6 months of work coming up. What am I gonna do right now? Right now, I'm not really rushing to find another job unless I can find the correct one. In a way, I'm kind of glad that this interview I had yesterday didn't go very well, because if that's the people that I was going to be working with, I just don't want a job like that. I don't want somewhere where I'm going to be miserable with supervisors who plainly just can't work things right, and just don't really know what questions to ask. You know what I mean? And for those of you who are recruiters or interviewers, I'm 35 years old. I have been through quite a bit of interviews, and I can tell you right now, I don't care what level you're at in your career, you don't go to an interview trying to make somebody feel less. Not only that, you don't go into an interview not wanting to do an interview, because you're just ruining it for everybody. You're just making that person feel less, like they don't know what they're talking about, even though they answered you correctly. And also, it just makes you seem like you just don't want people working for you, or if they do get the job, that they're gonna be miserable at that job. I have gone through a lot of interviews where it came through a few interviews actually when it came to IT and software engineering, and I can tell you the difference of somebody who tells you, like, you know what, like, I'm sorry, you know, the interview didn't go well, but we will keep you in mind. You seem like a really cool person. Unfortunately, it's just not at the level of experience that we require. Compared to, like, okay, well, I'll pass this on to my supervisor. Thank you, bye. It's like, that energy needs to be at the same level on both sides, because even if you're a candidate and you're like, well, this, well, that interviewing supervisor is going to be like, well, you seem like the life of the party. Yeah, you're not a good fit for us. Even though you have that knowledge, you're not a good fit for us, because we don't want people that just don't have that drive to work for us. And it's the same way. if a candidate notices that, hey, the interviewing supervisor just doesn't have that drive, then it's gonna be like, well, what company am I gonna be working for if I do get this job? And you know what I mean. So that's that level. Don't be afraid if you're interviewing. If you're a candidate that's interviewing, don't be afraid if you see that, like, even if you get the job, you're like, you know what, I didn't really like how the interview went because I feel like whoever interviewed me just didn't have that drive for, through the interview process. And I don't know what type of company that is, but I don't want to be working with people like that. And if you may come off as a a-hole, but you have the right to do that. You have the right to be happy wherever you're going to work at. I don't care if it's at a McDonald's. I don't care if it's at Google. You have that, what is it called? You have that, you need to be happy. I can't think of the word. I'm sorry. You have the right. There you go. Sorry. You have the right to be happy wherever you're working at. So please, guys, just be careful where you're interviewing at. And interviewers, please be careful the way you interview people. Don't be that person. Don't be in that interview. Because if we are at that stage in the workforce where people are not going to be scared to just say, screw that job because I'm not happy there. People need work, but most people are not that desperate anymore. You see what I mean? But to conclude the video, sorry again, to conclude the video, yes, I enjoy the job very much. I would definitely go back if I don't have anything going on in October. I'm definitely gonna go back. The people there, static, awesome people, supervisors, leads, permanent workers. Everybody was awesome. No complaints about the staff there. Absolutely no complaints about the staff there whatsoever. Love the job. The customers could have been nicer, to be honest with you, but hey, it is support tech. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching the video. I'm gonna try to obviously post a little bit more often, just now that I have a little bit more time. I have 2 other channels that I'm trying to take care of too, and none of them are paying me, so imagine that, right? But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I will be posting more videos on Linux, software engineering, support tech. I will be posting a video on the interview that I had and why. I will show you guys like everything and why I felt like that. Even if I would have got the job, I probably would not have taken it at the rate that they were going to pay me, even at that. But thank you guys so much. Like, comment, and subscribe, guys. Please comment some of the worst interview process you guys have gone through, or what are the best jobs that you guys regret, like not being able to stay or leaving. See you guys on the next one.